Welcome, everyone, to another exciting adventure on Riding Through the Unknown. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight's guest is quite a unique and fun guest that I am so excited to have on. We both have been anxiously awaiting this episode, and so I am so grateful she was available today to do the episode because she's got quite a schedule. And so, with that, I am going to hand it over to my guest to introduce herself to you all. I give you the one, the only paranormal, esoteric, disclosure extraordinaire, Shallen Brandi Gross.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here, Michael. Thank you very much for having me. I've been super excited as well, and I'm really looking forward to everything. So here I am.
Yeah, so why don't you give everyone an idea of what it is that you do?
A lot. Right now, okay. I started out. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my friends Marty, Mario, Marcos, Arwen, and Dave, Amber, and Brandon, and my friends at Bowers Burner Tap. I promised them that I would do that. There's a guy in A&E also. There's a lot. I started out life in 1980. So I'm 46 years old now. I do a little bit of work with Gaia, the internet streaming service. I do some work with, I do some remote viewing with Mendota Police Department. I have tried to help with, there's a kidnap victim here. Her name's Veronica Blumhorst. This is her picture. She's been missing since 1990. I started she was my neighbor back when she became missing. Her brother, he's deceased now. His name was Todd Blumhorst. He was a great friend to me. Bless his heart. She's presumed murdered, kidnapped and murdered. So they don't really have a lot to go on here with that. But so I tried doing some things with remote viewing and some things with that. So I try to help out the police with remote viewing and things like that. If I take my time and I do that, and then I can talk with them and give them leads and information about that. I've also had some work with the CIA. I was used for the one and only. There was an event in Mendota in 2019. I was used for the CIA mind control experiment here. There was some CIA technicians that came to Mendota. I was driven in my truck, my 2001 Ford Explorer Sport, under a trance with Illinois State Police and Mendota Police. And then I was made to perform. So I performed to a couple of musical songs where I waved, and I performed to the song "Hot Girl Bummer" to that, and I did some shopping with them. I was made to buy certain things in the shopping store here. So I became like an overnight celebrity for that in 2019. I've been used to perform under hypnosis. It's really kind of crazy because when you get done with that, you don't actually understand anything, and then you just like start to remember, and then you go, oh God. And then everybody's like, okay, it's all right, you remember that, but it's okay. So that's kind of fun. I got kind of a bubbly personality, so I don't really mind the adventure-seeking part of it. If I do something stupid or goofy or something like that, then I'm like, oh well, whatever, kind of shake it off. But I'm a nurse. I work for FEMA as a volunteer emergency management nurse. I have a book coming out with my friend Brandon LaChance. He's helping me like editing and things like that. He's a journalist from our local Mendota Reporter, retired. They closed down recently, but he does work with I think it's WKLPO, I want to say. It's KISS FM 103.9, the radio group. He's a sports media broadcaster. So he's helping me to write my book. And then it's going to be called The Shallen Gross Story, including aliens, the CIA, and the government. I remember. And so that's coming out later this year, about the end of this year. It'll be coming out. And then I bartend. I do some professional modeling, acting, and performing arts with Backstage.com. I had a YouTube commercial forever, about 6 or 7 months for Backstage.com. It was pretty neat. It was just still imagery, but it was my first Backstage.com commercial. So I have 6.1 thousand followers on Facebook now, and I just started doing influencing with Amazon.com for them too. I'm a member of MUFON. I'm trying my hand at certified field investigation. I haven't gotten certified yet, but so Sam, our Illinois chapter leader, and I are real good friends. I was good friends with David Wilcock, who recently passed away. Loved him. So he was a good friend. He gave me the title of Aphrodite for Gaia when we were coworkers with Gaia. Richard Dolan, who did things. He's a ufologist and a military historian as well. He and I did some work together. So I'm pretty excited about all that. We're pretty good friends. Richard, I haven't got to meet in person yet, but I'm really excited about that. Dr. Stephen Greer, I did some work with him, so I'm excited about that too. But that's about it in a nutshell.
Very cool. And I'm kind of curious, you say driving in a trance. Was this in a, like area where nobody else was driving, or?
Yeah, the Illinois State Police had, everything was barricaded. The Illinois State Police and the Mendota Police had everything barricaded and locked out. So they had me drive in front of, they had me drive through this place over, it was Financial Plus Credit Union's old, it was unused, but it was Michael Oregon's Country Financial Plus. I had to drive through there and do like donuts and wave and then flip people off while the song was playing. Hot Girl Bummer, fuck you and you, I'm sorry, but that's what it was. So I just waved and did that. And then they had me drive in front of another woman's house, and they talked about President Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy's assassination, and then had me suck on a blow pop. And they did this thing where they said it's about to blow, and then they had me drive to the Hub Tavern and pull in, and there was the cops were there leading me along the way, but then they had the ambulance and the police. So that was it was, when you're under that like trance-like state, you can't really pay attention. You don't really understand what's going on. All you see is that, and they're just going drive, and you're just driving like this, like really just drive. And then they just had me park. I remember the one guy going, "Oh shit, she's gonna crash. And he goes, shut up. And then he goes, brake, and I stepped on the brake. And then I pulled in, and then I had to back out, and then I had to turn around, and then they were like, turn the wheel. So it was really weird. But you're like, and then and I had to go to our Lake Mendota. I had to go to our dollar store. I had to go in there, and I had to purchase a pair of red shoes, two toothbrushes, and some batteries. And then I had to buy a pack of cigarettes. I'm not kidding you, a pack of cigarettes. I had to go to the Royal Smoke Shop. I had to buy a pack of Pyramid Red 100 cigarettes and some beverages. One was Propel Fitness Water, and Gaia was what I had asked for the fitness water because of the fitness work that I do with them. So that was where I had to get that. And then I took, we went to a house, and I had to get out, and I had to go up and ring the doorbell with my dog, my red and white female husky. Her name is Sakari. Has the same name as the orca at SeaWorld in San Antonio, Texas. I don't know if you are familiar with that, but her name is Sakari. So I had to ring the doorbell, And then I had to go, and they made me throw away my keys, two of my keys, and then I didn't really want to do that. So while I was still under the trance, I just kind of kept trying to grab them. They were going drive, drive. So I had to go, and I wasn't able to get the two keys. And I drove back, and I went to my came to my mom and dad's. And my daughter was here, and I was like, "Come on, Shyah." And then I was like, "I'll see you later." And then I turned around and got back in the car. And then I went home, and then I took one of my shoes off. I changed my shoes, put my red shoes on, took one shoe off, and then I fell asleep on the couch. And the next thing I remember, my boyfriend at the time, he's deceased. His name is Brad Zoprich. He come home and he woke me up and said, "What'd you do today? Are you all right?" And I'm like, "I just thought about you. Everything's okay." And then he was like, "All right." And he's like, "Okay, give me a hug." And then so that was where that took that day. But really neat.
So, how long did it take for you to recall everything that happened under the trance state, or did you have instant awareness the whole time?
No, it took about 2 months. I couldn't remember my daughter's birthday. I couldn't. She asked me, "Mom, when's my birthday?" And I kept trying to remember, And I said, "Shyah, honey, I'm so sorry." Her name's Shyah Gross. I said, "I'm so sorry, I can't remember." She's like, "It's okay, Mom. It's October 9th." And I'm like, "Oh." And then, like, I don't know, maybe like 15 minutes later, I was like, it just popped into my head. And then it was about 2 months. After talking to everybody kept, a lot of people would record, they would see me and they would wave, take my picture, and they put it on their Facebook account or their Instagram or something. And they'd be like, "There she is, there's her celebrity, there's Shallen." And I'd be like, "Hi." But so they would take my picture and they would post it online. And then so it was about 2 months. Yeah.
So, do you feel like with that experience, do you feel like this is the first and only time that this has happened, or are you starting to feel like, maybe this isn't the first time that something has put me in a trance state and I went and did something?
Oh, you know what? My daughter was actually able to put me under hypnosis after that. We were walking, and she was doing stuff, and then I just was like, "Oh, oh." And then there was another time that I was another place. I kid you not, there was a bunch of people, and they had a bunch of like flashing lights, and a crowd of like they were smoking and vaping, and I was just like, "Oh," I fell right to sleep. They're like, "Shallen, wake up, Shallen, wake up," and I'm like, but yeah. So continuously, if there's like a group of people or something like that, I do feel that I still go, like, if there's a bunch of like crowds of vaping cigarette smoke or puffs of smoke or like blinking flashing lights, I just go right under like that. But yeah,
Well,
sometimes counting too. But
yeah, and I'm kind of curious because, like, they had you grab a specific cigarette. Was that something unusual for you that when you saw that you were like, why are these here? Or
okay, my the pyramid cigarettes, um there is a little bit about the President Kennedy assassination with pyramid schemes. There were rumors with that. So that's why I, my boyfriend at the time, he smoked those types of cigarettes, but pyramid red 100s is what he smoked. And my mom, the other brand was the Pall Mall blue 100s, and it had a lion on them. So that was meant to mimic the lion with like thinking back with hidden symbols and like the cabal and things like that is what I would.
right? That's really interesting, and I'm like, as you were listing all the objects, I'm like, these are like completely random, but yet have a story
Mm-hmm.
behind them, either to you or to the CIA. And so, like the red shoes,
Uh,
I'm
cor-
curious.
corporate America. It's the woman with one red shoe. is what it is. So it was the book about the I believe her name is, it's either Peggy or Susan. I had it written down. It's about corporate America, is what that is. So the shopping was meant to replicate buying things for corporate America. There was a point in my life where I was watching things like conspiracy theory things like all the time like that, and I just I had started watching all these things like and then trying to like learn and figure out different things, and I was going into different areas of my life, and I ended up learning about that book and about that, and then right after that is when they did the mind control experiment. So those were things that were playing already in parts of my life. Another thing they did was flashing cards, dead man's hand. Ace, they used the sleight of hand magic cards, they with numbers and things like that. The aces and eights, ace and eight cards, and repetitive verbiage, aces and eights, dead man's hand. I can remember that quite a bit.
So, in all honesty, with this shopping spree, I'm kind of curious because the CIA, arranged this. Did they fund it, or?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I was gonna say, or did they confiscate everything after you were done? Because it was like,
yeah, I'm able to legally use them for the rest of my life as a performance arts job, and for my celebrity status, and for the mind control experiment. And I do actually get a compensation check for $10,000, but there's a couple more things that I have to go through with like technical terms like that. But I will get a $10,000 check.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah.
At least you were consenting to it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, your book, and I know it's a work in progress, but do you want to tell us a little bit about it, what's in it, or is that something you're like, you gotta wait to read?
No, it's a tell-all story about just a little bit about the mind control experiment at the CIA. I had an alien encounter as a small child at age 6. I was upstairs in my bedroom, and I was sound asleep, and I lost my first tooth. I was laying in bed, and I heard something. I heard a female voice asked me to wake up. It said, Shallen, Shallen. And she kind of sung my name. It was the most beautiful thing in the world. And I just went, what? And she was like, give me your tooth. And I was like, well, come in. And she was like, no. So she's like, give me your tooth. And then a hand appeared around my door. There were about 3 fingers with little suction cups at the ends, like a thin gray-green arm, really, really, really stretchy and wavy, and just went right over. And she said, go ahead, get your tooth. So I took my tooth out from my pillow, and I had it in my hand, and she went like this, waved her little fingers over there, and about 13 tiny little stars, gold stars, appeared in my hand, and then changed into a dollar bill. And I was like, oh my God. And then my tooth was gone. It was completely gone. And she was like, I'll be back to play with you again. And I was like, you don't want to play? And I was like, okay. And so then she left, and it was gone. So I ran downstairs, and I said my mom, she was talking on the phone, and our door was right there. As soon as you get down the end of the steps, our door was right there to come in the house. You go around the corner, my mom's right there on the phone in the kitchen. And then around the other way, there's another door. So I said, Mommy, look, I got a dollar bill. The tooth fairy was here. And she said, no. And she was like, hang on. And she was like, what? And I said, the tooth fairy is here. Look, I got a dollar bill. So she says, that's not possible. That's not possible, Shallen. I've been here the whole time, honey, and nobody's come in. And I was like, well, I got the dollar bill right here, and it's right here, Mommy, look. And she was like, she started crying. She started bawling. She's like, oh my God. So she started running around the house. She's like, hey, hang on. She's like, so she's running around the house looking for somebody that's possibly intruding in the house. and there's nobody there. And I'm like, Mommy, it's okay here. And she's running up the stairs. She's looking all over. She's like, I guess the tooth is gone. And she just hugged me, and she's like, I guess we'll be all right. But she's like, I don't. And I was like, well, so that was my first alien encounter. But after that, nobody ever came back. I waited and waited and waited all these years. But I had just, I mean, as a small child, you think that's the tooth fairy, but it wasn't the tooth fairy. It was, obviously it was some type of paranormal alien encounter that you just can't describe. And they took my tooth. So that was my alien encounter. I thought that was pretty neat. So that's going to be in there. And then I had some psychic experiences. My grandpa and I were pretty close. He died in 1985. So he was, from my grandma's telling, he had been in the army, and he didn't really like to say I love you or anything like that. He was only like 55 when he died, I think. He didn't like to say I love you to anybody. He was always very caring, but just didn't like to say it because of maybe like a trauma situation or something. And he told me I love you just a couple weeks before he passed away. I told my grandma, and she got real mad at me. She said, he would never say that to you. And I said, well, he did. He told me I love you. And she was like, okay, because he didn't like to say that. He didn't like to say that phrase to people, they said. But so then when he died, I had a dream. He came to me in a dream, and he told me, Shallen, I'm okay. I'm not going to be coming over anymore, but I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you every day, and I'm going to call you on your phone. We're going to talk, and then everything will be okay. Grandpa's fine. He's in a big blue box. So I said, okay. So then Mom and Dad ended up, they had his funeral services. My dad come to pick me up from the babysitter. They brought me in there, and Grandpa had already been buried. They took me in the church where they had the luncheon at. And they took me upstairs to play with the other kids. And I must have fallen asleep. When I fell asleep, I dreamt that my grandpa came in there, fully in there, and he said, Shallen, come on, let's go down here. I'm going to show you what's going on. So I said, okay. So we walked downstairs, and then we went into the luncheon area, and everybody was in there. I could see everybody. I could see my mom, my dad. I was wide awake, but I was dreaming. So he walked me. There was a casket, and it was open, and there was a soldier standing guard with a flag and a gun. And he walked me right up. He said, see, here's Grandpa. He's okay. So he showed me his face in there. He said, I'm sleeping. It's okay. You don't have to worry about it. And I said, okay. So, and then I remember my dad carrying me over his shoulder and coming into the luncheon to eat. And there was nothing in there. I said, I saw Grandpa. He's okay. He's in a big blue box. He's sleeping. So he's like, his coffin, in fact, was exactly a baby blue coffin. And so they kept that information secret from me because I was only 5, and it was very devastating to my mom. So they didn't want, they were like, how did you know that? So they became a little like, how did you know that? And I was like, Grandpa told me, he came to me, he told me. And they were like, there's no way you could have known that. And I was like, yeah. And then, so we did that. And then the next day, at 2 o'clock, Grandpa had told me he was going to call me at 2 o'clock. So he called me in the hallway. There was a little toy area for me upstairs next to my room. I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but across the street from our house, there's a school where I had attended. And before it was a school, it was a cemetery, and they had pulled all of the bodies out and moved them. So I don't know if this is like paranormal activity because of the closeness of where that school is and the old stuff. But there was also like they would take cars after they had gotten an accident, like people passed away and stuff like that. It was next to our house as well. So I don't know if all this paranormal activity and the alien encounter stuff come from that or whatnot, but I just wanted to put that in there. So anyways, the phone rings. I had this little plastic toy phone. So just like the poltergeist actually is what happened. The phone rings. It goes ring, ring, ring. It's a little rotary phone. And I'm like, hello? And it's my grandpa. And he's like, hey, honey, how are you? And I'm like, I'm fine, Grandpa. How are you? And he's like, I told you I'd call you. It's 2 o'clock. This is the time I'm going to call you every day. And he's like, how's your mom? I'm like, she's fine. She's okay. She's downstairs. And he's like, okay, well, I just want to say I love you and we'll talk again later. I'm like, okay. So this happened, I don't know, every day for probably a month. maybe two to 3 weeks, but I want to say a month really. So I told my mom and my brother and my sister, and then I would just like go in there and like sit there, and then they would see Chris and Lori, my sister and brother, would just go in there and be like, "Shut up! Who are you talking to?" I'd be like, "I'm talking to Grandpa," and they're like, "No, you're not." And I was talking to my grandpa. He was gone. He was passed away, but they were like, they would go run downstairs and they'd be crying, "Mom, Shallen's doing it again. She's talking to Grandpa again." And then my mom and dad would like grill me questions. They would like ask me things to ask, and everything they asked me, I would come back with an answer. Like, what color are my mom's earrings today? And he'd be like, "Oh, they're diamonds." And I wouldn't know what that stuff was at age 5, but that's what they were, and it was always accurate. So that was my first dealing with psychic experiences. And then as I got older, I started getting visions, and then I would have where I would see things, and then I would first what happened is I would get like sick to my stomach. I would see something like a flash, a vision, a premonition. Really, it'd be like I saw my friend get in a car accident going around a curve, and then I just throw up. I get sick to my stomach and I just barf real fast, and that's about it. And then it goes away until the next vision. So then somebody will call me and they'll say, "Okay, I got in an accident, and I just felt like calling you because I hadn't talked to you in a while, or I wanted to talk to you anyways." And I was like, "I dreamt of it," and that's what happened. Sometimes, like my friend Eddie got in an accident, and I had called him and I told him, "You have to be careful. I had a premonition that you were going to get in an accident." And he had been familiar with me having premonitions already. He was like, "Okay." And 2 or 3 weeks later, he called me. He said, "Hey, I'm at Happy's Garage in Spring Valley. They were going around the curb and the tire blew out, and we rolled the car, and we're okay. I just want to let you know." I'm like, "Well, I knew it. I knew that would happen." But it's just little things like that. So them are that's I'm talking about that in there, and then I'm talking about just like I ran for mayor here too. I didn't win that, but just little things like that and tidbits like that. And then my memoirs of all that stuff. So just the interesting stuff about the CIA with the mind control, and then the hypnosis, and then the psychic stuff, like with my grandpa and the alien stuff.
So, how does David Wilcock get into the story, and what role does he play in your adventures?
David Wilcock was a coworker of mine. We worked remotely. We were able to talk a lot online and things like that. He was such a good person. He had nicknamed me Aphrodite, which is the goddess of love, beauty, and fertility. So we talked mostly online. I do miss him terribly. So I met him in 2019. Prior to meeting him, I had watched him on Gaia TV and Gaia for disclosure, because I was just this big alien nut. Everything I always wanted to do was learn about aliens and paranormal stuff. So I started watching Gaia, and then I just became like in love with everything that he talked about, like physics, just like everything. Gaia wisdom teachings is what his big thing was for me at that time. So then I started ordering his books, stuff like that. Then I applied. I did the stuff with Gaia, and then so that's how I became to know David Wilcock. So he played the role of my good friend. So that's what happened when he passed away. He had been dealing with some cyberbullying and things like that. There was just a terrible, unfortunate group of events that had happened at that time. So I did. I was one of the people that was able to call and talk to the Boulder County, to the Nederland police, and talk about that. And I had talked with Corey Good a little bit about it. So yeah, I haven't understood myself why he would commit suicide of all things, because he wasn't into that. I do know that he was losing some money. His future was seeming kind of down. He had some cousins that were on the way over. He ended up, their plane crashed. They were probably going to help him out with some funds. He was not able to stay where he was at. healthily with the cyberbullying and things. His diet was changing. He was vegan, like I'm a vegan too. He was a vegan for a long time. He was having some people that were threatening him and bullying him. Mostly there were some people that were talking to him about different types of food purchases, his work, um, things like that. It was really sad, you know. And he was just like, "No, you're not going to get me down. You're not going to do it. And things are going to turn around." And then, boom, some family members pass away, and then it's just like, "I can't stay here anymore." And then he turns a gun on himself. A bunch of hogwash, but he ended up passing away like that.
Yeah, and the synchronicity of life on how it unfolds was his incident was 2 days before my mom passed.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And 2 days after my mom passed, a friend called me and said someone in their family passed away. And so it was like 3 deaths 2 days apart. I
Yeah.
was like, that's some weird synchronicity. And we had met David Wilcock when he came to Texas, and I found out his birthday was in March. My birthday was in March. My friend that was with me's birthday was in March.
Oh my gosh.
And we all were like
Oh,
close
wow.
in birthdays, and we were having a great time talking. And so yeah, I mean, when he was on stage or at an event, when even if he wasn't on stage, it was like he was Mr. Positivity. I mean, he was like
Yeah.
nothing could phase this guy. And when they said all that at the end, I was like, this doesn't fit with the picture
I know.
that I have. Something's missing from here.
I know. I know. It just everything you go, no, he would not do that. That is not. So first of all, I had thought, so I had called some people and I said, "You guys know all these missing, all these ufologists and scientists are missing right now. They're coming up missing and they're dying. Do you think maybe that's part of it?" And I was kind of concerned, and I said, "Maybe that's it." But really, I think it was a lot of a little bit more about bullying than they were bullying. He was being a little bit bullied and stuff like that, and he was running out of money, and it's just a terrible thing. But man, I'm gonna miss that guy forever. You know.
I know, and he just had a way of explaining things. And when I would follow, like, we watched his wisdom teachings, and I noticed when he got recently married, things got a little bit different. And then I was like, well, maybe it's just adjustment to both of them. And then when she left, I was like, he's kind of returning to his normal. But I mean, all along his career, I know he's been bullied, but
Yeah.
in the cybering. So I don't see that. When they said, announced and said, oh, because of the cyberbullying, he took his life. I was like, that's been his every day. If that was what was going to do it, that would have done it years ago.
Yeah.
It was like, that's why I say there's something missing,
Yeah.
because to me, the story doesn't line up because their reasoning
Yeah.
doesn't line up. Because I mean, you look at his life, his career has been up and down. I mean, he got in trouble with Gaia, he got in trouble with Corey, I got there was all these little dramas here and there. And so it's like, to say bullying took out David Wilcock, it's like, I don't buy that, because he's lived through it. So it's like, how could it be now what takes him down? And so I'm with you, with all the UFO people disappearing, all the whistleblowers being taken down.
Yeah.
I'm like, it seems awfully suspicious
Yeah. I
and
know.
timing that he is in that window too.
Yeah. 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 And the last time I had called and talked to over there, I talked to the police about that over there. The first time I it was okay. The second time they sent me right to the media line. And they were just like, go ahead and leave your message, and then they put it in memorization form, like basically. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
stupid. It's stupid because I talked to ABC7, or when he passed away. I called them and asked them if they had known about it, because I had wanted them to hear about it so they could look at it. And then I talked to there's somebody else I talked to. I can't remember. Another Chicago Tribune. I called Chicago Tribune and talked to them about it a little bit. And then I was just heartbroken. I mean, I was like, oh God, it was horrible. But
Yeah. And my friend Jason said, I think it's also because his wife left him and
yeah,
owed a lot of money. But if you knew David Wilcock, he would often say, "Oh, I got involved in this money situation. I got involved in that money situation." So, he wasn't the type of person to go, "Oh, I owe a lot of money. Well, not going to be able to get out of it, so better do the better thing." It's
yeah,
like, no, he was the type that would say, this will turn around. It
yeah,
always does.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I feel so bad for I just wish, coulda, woulda, shoulda, wisha. You know what I mean? And now
And part of me, honestly, I don't know how much into this you go, but because he would talk about MK Ultra, talk about all those programs, if they didn't MK Ultra him and
I
made him do that.
uh there I think actually David was on the same side, because he knew about things in Mendota with me too. He did. I think maybe he was on there. I mean, who knows? There's some other people that could have. I seriously think legitimately there is a group of people out there that are anti just anti everything, that everybody that has anything to do. I just with veganism, with ufology, with this, with that, and I think really that they just I don't know, and I want to be able to go out to Colorado so I look and just see for myself, what I can see and feel and hear. I can't understand, but maybe that might have been, but I don't think it was anything to do with CIA intelligence or military intelligence, but it may have been something different. And there's a group of people, somebody had been writing online about this Isaac Sam Capabes. Um, so I don't really know a lot about that, but that is something that I had, um, like, I found myself, like, people were posting things like on Facebook and stuff, and then I was just um, like Dr. Michael Sala and I are good friends. So Dr. Michael Sala and I are good friends, and somebody was attacking him, and he said, well, what about Corey? Corey had already confirmed his death, and I was like, so I go, yeah, I think these people better just leave this alone. We already know what they're doing. So Dr. Sala was like, how dare you people talk to us like that? And I was just like, these people are just strictly attacking anything. They were like, oh, he deserved to die. He had an ugly face. Look at his nastiness. He's so stupid. And I was like, you stupid bastards. How could you attack somebody like that? That man was brilliant. He was a genius. You know what I'm saying? Like, things that
Yeah.
yeah. And they were like, I couldn't
He was
believe,
a musician.
yeah, I know. And I'm like, yeah, I just think I couldn't just understand how in the world people would think. I mean, they can just be so stupid. I mean, just dumb things that they would say. I'm like,
And
yeah,
and he was a mama's boy. He would always talk about his mom,
yeah,
and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do this with mom." And so it's like you look and you're like, this dude is like the all American guy. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
yeah. And so
yeah.
I will say though, as things go, my mom, she was like a firm believer. Like some people were faking their deaths so that they could come back and be like exposing, all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And so part of me and I think part of my mom were like, I wonder if David is one of those that faked his death and that's why the death doesn't match the scenario because it really wasn't him. It was someone else.
I honestly, I want to believe that, but I talked to the coroner's office up there, and I talked to them before he was. What they told me is right before they did the autopsy, that they were getting ready to do the autopsy, that they had a person brought in that matched his description, that he was at the Nederland Ranch. He did have an incident. It was involving a gunshot wound. Um, he was passed away, but they hadn't done. It was a scientific. They were doing the scientific part, so they hadn't done the autopsy yet. And then as soon as they were complete with the autopsy results, they were going to post it online. And then I would be able to just look online if I had any other questions at that time. I could call back and talk to them. So I said okay, and 2 days later, um, it was on there that it was confirmed it was David Wilcock suicide and things like that, because I couldn't. It just blew my mind. I mean, really, I watched that last episode of his YouTube podcast, and I had talked to him. I said a thing about how are you doing with Nick Pope's death?
Yeah.
Hope everything's okay. And then they start coming out about 10, I don't know, 10:30, like just a little bit after that, just a few. It wasn't even we lost another one, David Wilcock, and I'm like, what the hell? So then I'm like, okay, I can't do it. So I start calling everybody. They're like, nobody knew, nobody. So I'm talking like to everybody. Nobody knew. So I'm like calling the police. I'm calling the news. I'm calling I called the coroner. I called the Mendota Police Department where I live at to see if they had known anything. I called everyone, and nobody could confirm it at all. And then the autopsy results came out, and that happened. So that's the only reason. And then I had talked to Cordy a little bit about it, and he was just like just heartbroken. But and then he had confirmed it too. But he was really the first one that had confirmed it. And then after that, I just really was just a bunch of crap. And then the autopsy confirmed it. So he did know first, and then the autopsy did. But I mean, I made 80, I've billion calls to people out there. I called a lot of people, and then I found that out, and I just sat here and I was like, oh God, you cry, and then it doesn't. I mean, just it's yeah, it sucked, but it was real.
And it's kind of like I almost want to say it was one of those moments where, like that song American Pie, where they're like, this is the day the music died.
Yeah.
It's like when I heard it, I was like, that's what I was thinking. Is he was into the music? I mean, the music was lifting him up and keeping him going, and how because he never stopped the music. That was the weird thing.
Oh God. Yeah. He did. He sure did. Bless his heart. Oh man.
But let's switch topic because we don't need to get verklempt on the show.
Okay. All right.
And I was just curious your thoughts behind it and everything, and I wanted to give you time to talk about it because, in all honesty, she had asked me if when we were talking about topics, if she could talk about this and make him a topic. So don't think I was like poking a wound. We had talked about doing this, so that's why we were going there and how we went there. And so switching things up a little bit to a different type of deal is you had the visit with the aliens in 86.
Yep.
Did you ever experience seeing them or feeling like you had missing time after that?
Uh, um, you know what? I didn't. I thought this woman. I thought I had some strange experiences where I thought that I I thought this was a woman that was wearing a long white flowing gown coming into my bedroom at night. I was dreaming, but she like came like, but I thought that she would come back, and then all I really have is her hand coming in and giving me the dollar bill, the stars that turn into a dollar bill, and taking my tooth. I don't. I don't have. I just feel like this was somebody that cared for me, and that was I was a lonely child sometimes. My sister was 6 years older than me and was always off with her friends, and my brother was 9.5 years older than me. My mom and dad owned a shell station. My dad worked out of state a lot, and my mom, she was always gone at work a lot. I got to go up to the store and be with her until my brother and sister got home, and then they would take me and babysit. But then I just go up and play or go outside and play. But so, and we didn't have any other kids on my block that were my age, unless the neighbors' grandkids would come, and they were like 5 or 6 years older, but they would only come like once every month. So I never had anybody to play with. So I don't know if maybe that's why they came, or maybe it has something to do with my name is a little unique, or the paranormal, or the graveyard across the street, or the dead bodies, like the cards and stuff, like from accidents and things. But I always have this feeling that this is a real nice, like an alien, but with all I can see is a lady with long flowing blonde hair in a white gown coming through the window, and she never came back. So I never had any missing time. I never had any missing time. I have this longing, um, to to meet to meet her, to have her come back. It's like a spiritual connection, maybe. Um, like when is she gonna come back? You know what I mean? So I uh, I don't I don't know. I I don't know. I wait for this for her to come back. I do. I just I don't know. But it's mostly because, not because of the coming through the doorway and giving me the dollar or anything, but because of the bond, like a motherly bond. It's like a motherly bond with me, like somebody that cares for me, um, which is really being so into aliens, because I'm like hardcore into aliens and paranormal stuff too. I've tried and tried and tried to find and search out, like maybe what planet, what the it's just I don't know if maybe I don't really know, but I never had any missing time. I just have that longing, that void. It's a void, like a longing.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting, because some people get lots of experiences after and some don't.
Yeah.
And it's a complete random thing. And so I think it's kind of unique and interesting that yours is a so far one and done incident experience, where others are probably like sitting there going, well, at least you had one.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for one. And that's the world we live in. Some people have many, some are still waiting for an experience, and some get one experience and that proves everything that they need, and they don't have another one. And it's interesting to try and figure out why, and there's no rhyme or reason. It's not like we can say, oh, because you went and decided this.
Yeah.
That cut off all access to them. It's
Yeah.
like there is no
Yeah.
anything, but I want to give a little bit more time to the Veronica Blumhorst.
Yeah.
I think, did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, cool. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So, but I'm just kind of curious. Did you naturally fall into looking for kidnapped victims, or was it something you felt called into?
Yeah.
And what do you think in your life kind of led up to being able to do that?
I because of my uh, background with the premonitions and like even with my grandpa, I used to read tarot cards. I used to read those a lot, and then I just kind of stopped. I got to a point where I could like look at people and just go, "Well, I already know everything that's going on about you. I don't need to hear anything. Just go away and let me be for a little bit." And then, then I mean, that was up to age 25. So I haven't read those in a long time, but I got like I just the visions they come. I mostly have dreams about people. If they're going to visit or if they're going to pass away, if they get sick. Every time somebody dies, it never fails. It's almost every single time I'll have a dream about them, and within 3 days they die. They just always do. This has been happening my whole life ever since my grandpa. And then I had if they visit, like if my aunt and uncle from Kentucky are going to come, I'll dream about them. And then within the next 2 or 3 days, we'll get the phone call, "Hey, we're on our way." I'm like, okay. So that, I mean, my grandma, she had a lot of psychic experiences like that. She'd always said to. So I kind of just talked it up to maybe it might run in the family a little bit. But the other things I just like with my grandpa and stuff, I think maybe, I don't know if my grandpa maybe maybe the aliens had been watching over me already and they gave me this as a gift, or maybe it got stronger, the ESP, because I started having visions after episodes with them, unless I count what happened with my grandpa in the dream state.
No, they could all stack up.
Yeah. So I felt I felt like I needed to do something to awaken different visions, different areas, different chakras, different feelings, thoughts, emotions, to be able to try to help find Veronica. When there's an interesting story about this. When I was, I don't know, when I was little, 8 or 9, actually it was when I was 9 years old. When I was 9 years old, I was outside playing in my front yard. I lived on Jefferson Street, and she lived on Monroe Street. She was right behind me. And my brother and her, or not my brother, but my sister and her brother Todd, Lori, is my sister. She's passed away, and her brother Todd has passed away. They dated, so they were in 8th grade, and they dated a little bit. Veronica was 21. She didn't really do a lot. She worked mostly. She worked at our local Save a Lot. It was Save a Lot, Super Value. She dated a guy. His name was Jeff Wavuka. He worked at the Mendota Reporter. He was their lead reporter at the time. He ended up, well, hang on. So, anyways, she went missing in 1990. She had, supposedly, it had been reported that she had been to work. She had mono. She hadn't been feeling well. She had mono, and she went to work, and she checked out a movie. She was going to come home right after she got off work. She came home. The garage door was wide open. Her car was in there. The car door was wide open. The purse was in there. Her red smock from work was there. And there was no Veronica. And she was supposed to take her brother Todd to school the next morning, and nobody could find her. He was looking all over. Come outside, seen the car. The car was still running. They couldn't understand why. The garage door, they looked all over, and then everybody started looking all over. Nobody could find her. Everybody started calling everybody, and then within a little bit, about a couple hours, all the neighbors were out doing search parties looking for her. Nobody could find anything, and then later that afternoon, us kids and stuff were asked to put flyers and ribbons around trees and things like that. Nobody understood anything that was going on, just that she wasn't home. We couldn't understand why. She was a little bitty thing, only 5 foot tall, weighed 99 pounds. I had talked to Todd about this. Todd had told me that she had been pregnant. They didn't really talk about it. That was about it. Maybe it was just real early on that she had gotten pregnant. So there wasn't a lot of over emotional like real excitement about it, because they hadn't been together. Jeff and Veronica hadn't been together very long. So what had happened was she went missing and nobody could find out why. So the police, they questioned everybody, and they forgot to take fingerprints. They didn't take fingerprints. So our fire chief at that time was her dad. Veronica was adopted. All three of the kids were adopted. Todd, Veronica, and Carolyn were adopted. So what had happened is they were kind of scared about that. They did take a hairbrush with her hair in it for DNA purposes. They preserved that and took it to the FBI. And that's about all they took. Todd and everybody were so concerned, but they didn't take fingerprints. They couldn't understand why the police didn't take fingerprints. They were upset about it. But they did take...
that does seem suspicious.
Yeah, it does. Well, she was our first kidnap victim. Okay, so they couldn't... What they were saying and suggesting that... Like, I have talked to my friend Christina. She works at Sullivan's here. She was about 16 years old. And she was supposed to switch shifts with Veronica that night at Super Value. But she was only 16, and her brother was in Veronica's class, so they were pretty good friends. And Christina had ended up sick, and she couldn't switch with Veronica that night. So the next morning, her mom said, Christina, let's eat some breakfast. We have to go to the police station. Something's happened with Veronica, and they don't really know what it is. You might be there for a while. So she said, okay. So she ended up going there, and they had all the kids from Sable out there that worked with her and everything, and they were held on lockdown in the police, able to go back and forth from their home and to the police station and school, and that's it, for 2 weeks, including the boyfriend. And then they just released everybody and said they didn't have enough evidence and they couldn't figure anything out, and she's just kidnapped at that point. And after so many years, after 7 years, they just do automatically presume dead, which is really sad. In 1989, in the summer of 1989, I was outside playing, and my parents were gone at the grocery store, and my sister was upstairs sleeping. It was about 7:30. I wasn't allowed to be out there playing, and I did it anyway. I went out there, and there was a guy parked in the Blackstone School was right up the street, and we had moved to another area, to Jefferson Street at this time. And Blackstone School is right up the street. There was a black Nova, or El Camino, sitting in front of the school, and I thought it was my brother's friend, Paul. So I'm waving and waving, and this guy can see his hand waving at me, but I can't see his face. So he starts coming up the street. So as he gets closer, I go, this isn't a green car. I don't know what color it is, black or blue, because I couldn't tell really good at the time. And I said, this isn't my brother's friend. I don't know who he is. So then all of a sudden, the guy stops, and he rolls down his window, and he's got real thick glasses. He's got terrible scars all over his face, like horrible scarring. He's got real black hair, and it's dripping like grease, and he's very scary looking. And he says, come here. And I go, no, I can't. And then he goes, okay, it's okay, come on. And I go, no, I can't. And then he goes, I said, get in the fucking car, bitch. I'm sorry if I... And he goes, and I said, no. And so then he opens the door and then starts putting on rubber gloves, and he has a knife in his hand, and he's like, come on. And he starts to come at me. And I was like, ah. So I ran upstairs, and I woke up my sister. I'm like, Lori, this guy tried to kidnap me. So we're looking out the window, and he's looking around like that. He gets back in his car, and he bolts off. So we're hiding under the bed at this point, and we're terrified that the guy's going to come back. About half an hour later, my mom and dad walk in, and you can hear them talking. So we're screaming. I'm like, Mom! I'm like, Dad, somebody. So we run downstairs, we call and tell Mom and Dad. They call the police. Police come over, and we tell the cops everything that's going on. And they're like, okay, it's okay. So then that was in 1989 in the summer. And then in 1990, she's missing after that. So 1998 comes, and I get this phone call. I'm living in another place. I'm 18, and it's the FBI. The FBI is calling me, and they're like, hey, Shallen, remember that guy that tried to kidnap you when you were 9 years old? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, his name was Ronald Wetzel. And he has been caught kidnapping and raping a woman. He had done it before, and he kidnapped her. He got caught, and he confessed to doing it, and he confessed to trying to kidnap you. He said that you were the first child he ever had tried to take in his entire life, that he'd been doing that with women, kidnapping them and raping them, and he didn't know if he wanted to kidnap you and he wanted to rape you, and he wasn't understanding why, but that's what happened. So you don't have to worry about it because he's been caught and he's in prison, and he'll be in prison the rest of his life. You never have to worry about it. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, oh God, I don't even know what to think about that, right? Okay, so I go, okay, you go, okay, and then the conversation ends, and you go on about your life. And then 2008, well, her brother Todd moves away. Her parents are still using that car. They're driving around in that car, trying to get hopes that somebody will see the car and recognize, what's going on and stuff like this. But nobody comes forward with any leads or anything like that. It's always the same stuff. A lot of people thought that there was an officer that might have been involved because he didn't take fingerprints. I don't really think that's true. I know the officer pretty good, and I think he's a decent guy. I mean, I don't think he would have done that. Other people have suspicious theories that it's the boyfriend because she was pregnant, that he wanted to get rid of the baby, and things like that. And I don't really know. That's what Todd in his heart had believed, that maybe the pregnancy might have led an argument of some sort, an altercation, and maybe an accident might have happened. And the police did clear him, but there is a lot of suspicious things. There is a lot to what happened. So in 2008, I'm working as a nurse at the hospital, and his mother comes in. She's my patient, and then she brings him up, and I'm like, oh gosh, I wonder how Todd's doing. So I don't break HIPAA or nothing like that. So I just go, okay. So then I call Todd after I get off work. I go, hey Todd, did I ever tell you about that guy Ronald Wetzel? And he's like, no, what happened? And I was like, okay. So I told him the story, and he goes, I appreciate everything you do, Shallen. I love you to death. We're homies. I love you forever. But I just think really that it is her boyfriend. I just think really it's her boyfriend, because in the police report, which she did share, he said that if he was going to hit her, if he was going to hurt her, he may have forgotten if he was angry. He did see her earlier that day, but he had been in an accident years ago. He laid down his, he had some head trauma, and the only thing that he could remember is that he didn't think he would get mad, but if he would have gotten mad, he would have maybe pushed her or something. She could have hit her head. He would have dumped her body. He would have strangled her with a red smock from work, and he would have dumped her body, and then he would have dumped the red smock out. And the red smock was there, so he couldn't have done it. He couldn't have gotten mad. And that was his excuse, and that is what happened. So after that, nobody knows anything. So I'm like, well, I just can't stand it. So all these years go by, and then I go, okay, I have a lot of psychic experiences here. I want to learn how to do this remote viewing stuff. So I start watching all these things about remote viewing, controlled remote viewing, like Ed Games's teaching style of remote viewing, Courtney, Patrice Calabrese, all forms of different remote viewing. So I go, okay, I'm just going to start doing this. So then I started doing that, and she was my first one. Her and a couple other people, my ex-fiance. She was the first one. So I had gotten some images of some flat, grassy areas that she may have had been. Some images of like her body laying in a remote, like a ravine area with a flat, grassy area around it. There was a place over I don't know, I want to say maybe 25 minutes, 15 to 25 minutes from here. It's called Knox Grove. It's a little forest preserve. So that's where everybody always likes to go. Her and her boyfriend Jeff had used to go out there because he lived in Sublette at the time. And there's a ravine there, and there's some flat area. There's a bunch of trees, things like that. So that's, sure enough, that's where the police actually used to go with the dogs, the cadaver dogs, to search. So I had called the police not too long ago, and talked to Deputy Chief Tyler Kent and about that. I told him, I said, curious enough, I don't know if you know, but there was a man named Ronald Wetzel that was involved with me just not even a year before she had passed away, that had been caught kidnapping and raping a woman. And she was 21, and her height and frame and her size, she would have looked like maybe a 16-year-old to most people that didn't know her, because I'm only 5 foot tall myself. So, and I have been like out riding my bike, sometimes coming home from work and things like that. And officers had seen me, like, and they'd be like, "Hey," and I turn around and they go, "Oh, Shallen, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was you. I thought you were a little, you're so short." So, I mean, she was pretty small. So I don't know if it was somebody that was looking for a child, maybe, or if it was somebody like that was looking for a woman, if it was somebody that she knew. But what I had got from my remote viewing experiences was her body had been laying dead in over, like, with some grassy areas and a ravine there. So I had talked to the police about that. I told them about Ronald Wetzel. I told them about the remote viewing and things like that. So so that's where I work with them with that and things like that. And so every time I see them, they always go, "This is our friend with Veronica Blumhorst." She's always, "This all started with our friend Shallen and Veronica Blumhorst," and they always give me, like, credit for that. So
I do have a question.
yeah.
Has anyone thought of the option, because when you said, like, she might have been pregnant and the boyfriend maybe, wasn't happy about it, could it be that he wasn't happy because it wasn't his? And is there another party?
I don't know. There was another woman that was seen often with him on the back of his motorcycle, while he was seeing her, several times. But they said that they were just kind of friends, but they didn't. So I don't know if it was that, but it does seem awful suspicious that he's seen with her often, and nobody ever made anything of it. But I kind of think that his heart was with another lady there, and I really think that he didn't want that baby. But she could have been, she could have been, but according to Todd, she was just head over heels in love with Jeff Viverka at that time.
Yeah, but I mean, we're also, assuming, that it was a consensual deal and maybe not, and that's why he couldn't handle it. I'm just playing angles that most people may not think about, because being so close to the story, it's like, let's focus on what keeps making sense and let's not open the floodgates, because
Well,
then we end up going down several rabbit holes and the investigation may go forever, because
oh, yeah,
every turn's going to open another door, because that's how they work.
yeah. She's been gone for so long now. Um, I don't. I just. They just did another cadaver dog search here. I want to say in March, and so I was talking to. See, I had taken 2 years of forensics before I became a nurse. I took 2 years of forensics, and then my daughter was only 10 months old at the time, and they wanted us to switch to a 4-year college at the time, and I just couldn't because she was so small. She was only 10 months old. So I ended up switching into nursing and became a nurse. But before that, so I did. I know Dr. Joel. He is a forensic chemistry teacher at IBCC College in Oglesby, Illinois, where I live in Mendota. But so I had talked to a couple of the people. I said, "Do you guys know that Dr. Joel will do organic samples? Like, he'll do soil samples, he'll do concrete samples. So if you have a location, if you call him, he'll do that for free, and he will task his students in the classroom to go through that, and then they'll be able to see." Because there was another woman that was missing. Her name is Diamond Bradley. She was from Spring Valley, Illinois. It was just a few years ago, and he is the one that his students and him, they were the ones that were able to crack where she had where they found her body. They did soil samples and stuff like that and analyzed it, and they were able to locate like the type of tire marks, and the vehicle, and even his genetic information was still in there. So that's how they found the killer for that. And so they were like, oh no, but you know what? We could get some DNA samples from her biological mother is still alive. So then we are looking at maybe trying to do that right now. I hadn't actually, my computer actually took a fritz right after that, literally. I mean, within 10 minutes after that, it just shut down, and I didn't never hear back from the guy again. So I go, oh my God, how stupid is that? But I needed to know about that. So I gotta actually make a couple phone calls about that and see if I can talk to them. But I take this bag with me. I take this bag with me everywhere I go in hopes that somebody will see Veronica's face, because I gotta know, like in my heart, I think that somebody's got some answers, and somebody can help us find her.
Yeah, and it's tough because it's like you're saying, this happening in the 80s, 90s, that's like over 20 years ago. The likelihood of, if she's kidnapped, you'd like to think, oh, in these 20 years, she could have had a chance to get free, reached out somehow, or try to find help. But then again, we don't know the situation if she's even still around. That's the big question. And the unfortunacy is, like, limitations with the remote viewing is you can't remote view and say alive or dead. It's like it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing. I mean, I wish I wish I could. There's so many. I had, well, another thing, I was able with the Monroe Institute in Virginia. I had called them, and they offered me a scholarship for some training programs for them. So I'm looking at trying to get in doing that. I was there when I was a little girl, but to Virginia, but I had never got to do that yet. So they had qualified me. I talked to them about like my psychic abilities and stuff. So they had qualified me for a psychic research for some of their programs and stuff. So I want to do that. That is on the top of my list. So I mean, I really, hopefully after I get some different training, because I have never had structured training for anything like that. I just have done like what comes to me and things like that. And then maybe like with the remote viewing, that's things that I've learned like through video watching and books and things like that. So I would like to have some structured training so I could develop my abilities a little bit more, and then maybe I could do that, because another thing is like the Adam Walsh, John Benet Ramsey, them are real big things that I want to, you know what I mean? Yeah.
right. And, it's interesting because when I talk to people about remote viewing, they always have like coordinates or like a building or, something that's like solid, not in motion. So I find it interesting that you're using remote viewing to try and track her, because if she is alive, she's a moving target. And so the remote viewing may be working, but the question is it, a day behind, a year behind, a month behind if she's not where you're seeing? And so, that, not knowing that time frame, it's interesting to figure out, can you remote view a moving target?
Yeah. Yeah, you can. Um, you know, man, Russell Targ, I hope one day that I can get so good with it that I can be like Russell Targ. I just, I'm so busy with all these other things. Like, I just, I want to learn everything there is to know about it, and I don't. There's so many. I want to really, really learn, like, how to just, like, he's just phenomenal with his. But I mean, like, really how to do, like, according to them, like, even like Lynn Buchanan, Russell Targ, the things that they can do, or Joseph McMonagle, but Joseph's passed away. But it's just amazing. They can see, like, but I'll tell you right now, there's somebody over here and she's trapped in this building, and here's the picture of it, and somebody will be able to find it. And I just, I don't have that expertise with it at this time, but I'm hoping to get there. And the things that I have done are really tremendous. I mean, they are promising, I think, and just with my psychic senses ability alone, I'm hoping that I can bolster it up to be able to work in a fashion to be able to find missing and
And if you want, I don't know how many, like, hands you want in the cookie jar, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I have a friend in Greece. Her name is Catherine Soros.
Okay.
She is really good at finding missing people. And so I don't know if that's someone you may want to reach out to. And I don't know if she's available. She is in Greece, and so that makes communication somewhat tricky because they're normally awake when we're asleep.
Oh yeah.
And so, but she might be able to help teach you because I don't know that she does remote viewing, but she is a medium.
Okay.
And so it'd be similar for you. So she might be a good person to learn from. I'm not sure if she's training or on projects right now. I haven't talked to her in a few months, but last I talked to her, she was doing all right. So I'm not sure if she's home in the summer or on a paranormal investigation. She is a paranormal investigator too.
Okay. Could you send
But
me information?
yeah.
Yeah, great. I love you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and I do have a friend that teaches remote viewing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want his
Yep.
information and
Yep.
how his class works,
Yeah.
but yeah, I can send you both of them.
Okay. Yeah.
His name is Tony Rodriguez,
Okay.
and he's really into, like, teaching remote viewing of doing, following the rules of how he was taught. And so I don't know how the videos you've watched are, and so it may be a little different flavor or along the same lines. So I just want to give you a heads up that, if you do join it, he has a structure that he does with his group, and there's a group of people in it with him. And so you may get the benefit of multiple eyes on this versus one or two.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be excellent. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Nice.
And so, with that being said, do you think, you'll ever sign up to do another mind control experiment?
Oh, I'd love to. Actually, I would love to. It's quite an ideal, or it's quite a different flavor of life. It is. Yeah. It was real spooky at first, real spooky, real weird, real strange, but it's neat. It's pretty neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat anyways. Everybody else did too. So that was the police. The police always kid me and ask me, what's the name or what's the time and date you're in Shallen right now? Tell me right now what day. So I'll be like, today is August 5th, 2026, and the time, and I'll give it the time. I'm like, okay, but there is one more thing I wanted to say real fast. I have a couple different experiences. This being in with the alien that visited when I was little. I had a couple different DNA tests done. I had it. So something had happened to me, and I had to get some DNA swabs done at age 18, and it come back, and they said that they thought I had been an African American, and I said, no, I'm not an African American. I'm Caucasian. That's what my parents had told me I was my whole life. I'm Caucasian. So they were like, well, our DNA sample says that you're an African American. I'm like, no, it really doesn't. They're like, I said, well, I can ask my dad. They're like, well, okay, you say you're Caucasian, it's okay. I go, okay. A few years later, I ended up going to college and then doing the forensics thing and a bunch of other stuff. And I met, I'll get out of that part really fast. I met some friends in the government that I have. Garrett Tobias, he's a good friend of mine. I did a commercial with Senator Patrick Welch, who's deceased now. He's at the college. It was on ESPN and on TV. And then I did some work with Governor Rod Blagojevich. So I got a couple of good friends in the government that I can always talk to if I need them. Then I ended up a couple years later. I had my daughter's paternity testing done, and my results came back Caribbean. So it said that I was entirely 100% Caribbean, and my daughter was mixed Caribbean and white, completely different. And I said, I told the lawyer, I said, I'm not kidding. I think there's something wrong with this. I'm white. She said, well, we tested you. We did it twice. All that matters is the number. You don't have to worry about it. I said, no, I think this is wrong. She said, no, it's right. We tested it twice. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what it is, and that's what it says. And we're testifying in court to it. So this is how it's going to be upheld. So I said, okay. So I always thought I was Caucasian, but I wasn't. And then, so I don't know about that, but so I don't really know anybody that's Caribbean around me, but my dad, he took a DNA test, and his comeback said he was Neanderthal and Orkney Island and Fenno-Scandinavian. And then my mom refused to take one completely, but I bought his at CBS, and he did that. He's passed away now, but so I couldn't understand how his comeback like that, but his grandma was full-blooded Cherokee. So I said, well, maybe somehow, some way, there's some Caribbean people that they brought over on a ship, and we're mixed in with them. And I mean, his was just a basic $10 DNA kit off of CVS. So maybe it was messed up or something. I don't know. But I took two of mine, and they were both weird. But so then I took another one that I bought from CVS that cost $50, and it come back I was entirely British, French Canadian, and west of the Nile Nigerian, and German. And I was like, oh, and a little bit of Italian. And I was like, well, this doesn't make any sense at all. So that's the last one I took, and I said, well, whatever. I don't know how anything messes up, but I have to list myself as I'm Caribbean because I went through court. But the other one, the forensics one, so it said African American, and then the next one says Caribbean, and then this other random one says it was really weird. So I looked a little bit up, and it says British Netherlands is Caribbean descent. So I don't know if that's because it was like 60% British. So I don't know if maybe it was talking about that or what. But my mom, she refuses. So I don't know if maybe I was adopted, or if there was talk maybe that I don't know, maybe I could have been switched at birth, which is very rare. But maybe this is why I was so longing with this entity for this woman that that come with the long flowing hair and the long gown and things like that. And then I had my daughter. When I had my daughter in 2003, my blood type we had tested the month prior to, it was B negative. And then when I had my daughter, she coded right away, right after she was born. So they had to do full on CPR on her. And right before she coded, right before I had her, I saw a nun waving to me in the hospital. I looked out the window and there was a nun standing in front of the small church outside, and there was my mom didn't see it. It was a nun holding a baby. And I said, "Mom, there's a nun there. She's holding a baby." And she looks over and she says, "There's nothing there." And the nun is just holding the baby. And I went, "What the hell?" And I was like, "Oh." And then I was like, "She's gone." And then my daughter came out. She coded. And then so I about 3 hours later they brought her back to me, and she was fully alive and everything was fine. Her blood type was B positive. Mine was B negative. 2013, I got I had some blood pressure issues. They prescribed me some newer blood pressure medicine. I ended up having an allergic reaction to it, and I ended up going into a coma. I ended up being in a coma for about 3 months. When they took me to St. Francis in Peoria. They life flighted me. They had intubated me, and then I coded in there. Well, was under. I saw my best friend's mom, Kathy Pinner. She'd come out of like a cloud down, and she came down. She was all white. I was in this white room, and she said, "I don't know what you're doing here, but I got to go check and make sure it's time." She's like, "I don't know what you're doing," and then she's like, "Let me come back. I'll be back if I need you." And then she like floated up in the air, and so she never came back. So that was my death, my near death experience. I woke up a couple months later, and I had a tracheostomy and a feeding tube. I've been on a ventilator on life support for 3 months, and so my whole perspective on life changed. But they checked my blood type, and it was RHA positive. So I said, "This can't be right." So I was just like, "Well, whatever." So I was still like in and out, and I forgot about it and everything. 2017, I had to go to the hospital. I had a big cyst removed, and when I was in there, they checked my blood type, and it came back RHA positive. I argued with the doctor because I've been a nurse for so long at that point. I said, "I don't really see how this can happen, but my daughter, she coded. Maybe I needed some Rogan or something." He said, "No, because that's usually a second baby." I said, "Well, I've already had 2 miscarriages." So he said, "I don't think that would count, but I tell you, you've been checked in 2013 and now, so your blood type, it changed." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I had been talking to Tim Ains from MUFON not too long ago, and he had actually brought this to my attention, that your blood type can change on its own in certain extremely rare circumstances, like if you have leukemia or if there's a trauma that occurs, the body will actually change its blood type. So I'm thinking it must have been from the day that I went into the coma. My blood type changed from B negative to RHA positive. So I thought, there's no way, I don't even get it. So I just, but this is just so weird that had happened to me. And then I was going to donate some some menstrual blood to do stem cell research to a woman. Her name is Nora. She's a scientist. She's in India. So I was talking to her, and I said, I think I want to donate some mesenchymal stem cells. So I was talking to her, and I was telling her about my blood type change, and she said that happened to her too. And she's like, "Well, this is extremely rare." She's like, "Mine changed during childbirth from A positive to O negative." And then she goes, "How did you get a B positive child if you're RHA positive, and your her dad is O positive? How did you get a B positive child?" I said, "I have no idea, because it's not physically possible. So the only reason is because mine was really actually a B negative, and it actually really did switch to a RH, because it's not possible to have that type of blood in the baby. She would have been most likely an O positive. So I don't really know, but I don't know if that. I mean, maybe I was born in an alien shell and then reincarnated into my mom. I don't know, but the whole thing is just real super strange to me, and I find myself, I was longing for this lady to take care of me, to be motherly with me. And I don't know if maybe that's it or what, but in a nutshell, I just think it's weird.
Well, here's an interesting twist for you. I have a friend that lives down a few cities down from me, same state though.
Yeah.
That she wrote a book called I think it's Stolen Seed, Stolen Baby, and it's about how aliens, she got pregnant, and the aliens would remove the child, and it would be to the degree of, at one point she said that when she would go and get her test, to see how the pregnancy is going, and then the next appointment they would be like, your body has no signs of being pregnant.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
and and so she talks about how the ETs were removing, and she did end up finally having kids of her own. And so I kind of, because they took your tooth,
Yeah,
I kind of, when you said you had the two miss, I was like, in my mind going, I wonder if they really were miss, or did they visit and she doesn't know and they have them up there?
I don't know. I don't know. But it seems weird enough. It does. I know.
Yeah. So, yeah. If you want to look it up, her name is Karen Wilkinson. I think.
Okay.
I think it's Wilkinson. I'll send you her
Yeah.
info. I have her book around here,
Yeah.
somewhere, but
I'd like to do.
yeah, it's interesting how you're going through these experiences, and I'm like, I happen to know a person,
Yeah.
and I know a person about this, and
Serious?
maybe a person about that.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you'll get some answers through all of this and be able to, help a lot of people with your gift and the fact that you don't give up. And that's admirable that you don't, because I don't know a lot of mediums or viewers who, if they don't get answers in 20 years, are like, hey, we're still going to keep, putting it out there. We're going to still keep pushing till we get the answer. A lot of them are like, I think it might be, time to just accept what we don't want to accept and move on. And it's like, it's unfortunate, but, it's also, the case, like they'll say, you got to look at, with limited resource and time, where do you put the focus? If you're spend like 10 years actively with no answers, you got other cases, to look at. It's like, at what point do you say, we truly gave it our all,
Yeah.
and unfortunately we just can't solve this one, versus, yeah, we're just going to stop because we need to put our resources here and maybe solve this one, and if we have time we'll come back to that one.
Yeah. 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 God, I hope it works out though. But I mean, I really do. I hope so. I hope so. It does.
Well, either way, I think with everything that you've done, I would say, it's, if you look at it through the Edison scope,
Mhm.
and what I mean by that is, if you remember the National Treasure movie,
Oh yeah.
where they said to Edison, how many times did why didn't you keep going with every failure of the light bulb? And he goes, hey, I only needed to find one way to make it work, but along the way I found 999 ways it didn't work. And so it's like, it's a matter of how you look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so doing your work with it, you found many places where she may have been or wasn't there, so you can cross them off the list
Yeah.
and move on, and keep the search field in a reasonable
Location area.
area, versus, well, maybe now she's out this far.
Yeah.
or maybe now we need to go this far. It's like, you're systematically crossing off locations, and so you're doing good. Even if you don't get the answer, you're still doing good, and everything that's going on, every little piece helps.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's nice to hear some acknowledgement of doing good. Thank you. That's really what I work for at the end of the day is just to know that what somebody's gonna be found, and I just really, I honestly, I just want to help. I mean, I got my whole heart in it to be able to to be right there. If somebody, I mean, I want to be able to fully develop all of my psychic abilities, to be able to just be a tool to be able to do that, and hopefully. I can get maybe I can get with these other resources that like people you were talking about. Maybe we can find something because this poor lady, we need some closure here. I mean, we live in a small place here, 10,000 people, but we would love to, just bring something here back so that we know for sure for closure. If even just for Todd, her brother. I mean, that guy was so good. I loved him so much. He was such a good person, and her friends, his friends, everybody. We just So that's what we're. But don't give up is my motto, and that's the firm way that I believe, and that's what I'll never do that. I'll never give up trying to help these poor people try to find her. I'll never give up trying to think about that Jean Benet and Adam Walsh, and them are the the three that are the most important to me. And I'll never give up trying to use myself as a tool to be able to find them. So thank you very very much.
Yes, and another way to look at it is, everybody, like the police, other agencies maybe had their eyes on this, are looking and seeing the dedication that you have and the perseverance that you have, and in the back of their mind are sitting there and saying, my God, are we glad to have her around here? Because if something was to happen to me, I know she would be on top of this just like she is now
Yeah.
with this case. And so, what an asset to have in the corner, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, some law enforcement, they're like, hey, we did our due diligence, we tried, we can't win them all,
Yeah.
you gotta let it go. And they'll be like, not really supportive. But then when it comes to their turn, it's like it switches and they may reopen because they're like, hey, you not giving up on me
Yeah.
saved my butt. Let's relook at this case. Now we're gonna look at this differently. And so you never know. And so yeah, it's good that you don't give up because you never know what's gonna be the thing that you may help in another case that brings everyone's attention to this story, and resources are put back on it that were maybe taken off because of the timing, and new technology may come up and resources be put into that and bring that in that could help. And so there's a number of infinite possibilities. And so yeah, just I like how you're open to them all, and you're not sitting there like going, no, she's alive.
Yeah.
She has to be alive. No, I'm not going to accept the other one.
Yeah.
And so that's the right way, I think, to approach it personally. Is it's unfortunate you have to think that way, but if you don't,
Yeah.
then like you're saying, there may be like evidence you'll find on dirt somewhere that says, oh, this is the final spot. But if you're dead set she's alive, you'll be like, nope, that's not what that means. And you'll just keep going. And it's like, closure moment missed.
Yeah. 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 God, I hope so. I hope we have. I hope we don't get that part, but I really hope it is closure moment safe. I
Yeah.
hope.
And I mean, And here's something too to, kind of watch out for is with everyone doing these DNA tests and everything,
Yeah.
if the child survived, they may put their DNA into the system. And I have watched some forensic shows where the authorities tapped the genetic company like Ancestry or
Yeah.
23andMe, and then we're like, hey, we need to know, from this DNA sample who all is related. And they go and they look at who's new and young and be like, could this be? And they find people that way that were deemed missing because the DNA doesn't lie, so to speak. But
Yeah.
now that I hear DNA can change, it's like, well, then I don't know what we do in those situations because it's like, well, if the DNA's changed, then what good is a sample? I guess, can you do it off an old sample or need a new one? Because she's obviously been through trauma. So is the DNA still valid? That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. It should be. I would hope it should be. But now they have like extra sensitive types where they have like the vacuum. They can lift, just run it over a pair of pants, and it'll like suck it up in a vacuum, and they'll be able to tell that way. So we didn't have all that stuff when she was missing before. And interestingly enough, it wasn't until 2008 Todd had come back here to Mendota for a little bit in September for her 20th year of missing, and he had a speech in the at our fairgrounds, and there was an FBI agent, and they took fingerprints at that time. So that was 20 years later when they did that. That's when they finally did that's when they finally did
Yeah,
that.
and Shallen Willow Roots, she came in late to the show.
Yeah,
She's asking, she says, I missed. Who is she looking for? So, do you want to put the bag up again and share the name?
yeah. This is Veronica Veronica Blumhorst. She is missing since September of 1990 from Mendota, Illinois 61342. So if you have uh, any resources or anything like that, that's who we're looking for. Any type of special ability like remote viewing or psychic ability, or any friends, anybody, that's we're looking for. That's the girl we're looking for here. So she's a good person, deserves to be given a little bit of attention.
I agree. And so we're getting close to wrapping up time because we are actually at like almost an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay.
I didn't realize how much time had gone by.
I hadn't
Got
either.
caught up in the case and was like feeling my detective side coming out and being like, wait a minute.
Yeah. So much fun doing that stuff too.
Willow says, I have some abilities. I will do some work and see if I get anything. Thank
Thank
you.
thank you. Thank you. Bless your heart, man.
That just kind of made my night because I always hope that my shows, people find each other, get connected, help each other, and I never know. And so that's really cool to actually hear and witness. And I'm going to put that back up for a second because it glitched. But yeah, that is so awesome that you're willing to do that, Willow. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much.
That just kind of made my show night.
Mine
I
too.
was like, it's like a highlight now. I'm like, this is becoming one of my favorite episodes
Yeah.
just because of that moment. Because, I mean, in all honesty, it's like when we're on these shows and we're sharing our experiences and sharing our stories, and we don't know how it's hitting
Yeah.
the audience and if people are. And so to witness, it unfold like this, That's what's so cool. It's like, wow.
I
I
know. That's where I was.
and Willow is commenting, I felt drawn to her because of the year 1986. Something told me to watch.
Well, hello. Thank you, man. Um, well, was she born in 1986, or was that a specific number, or?
Uh, I think, did we mention something happened in 1986?
The alien encounter.
Oh,
Yep.
she says yes, born.
Synchronicities then.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or as my friends, we like to call it, soul family coming through.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, and Willow says I've had alien encounters, so
Yeah. Nice.
I have too. So welcome to the tribe, and so appreciate you. And I will make sure you two, because Willow just sent me a friend request, and so I just connected with her. And so I'll make sure to put you two together as well and see what unfolds for you all. And I will kind of take a back seat because too many hands in the cookie jar, in my opinion, kind of throw things off. And so she says, yes, please, thank you. So yeah, I will definitely, let me write this down. I got a list now. Homework assignment
Oh,
is Tony. Uh, oh my gosh, my name just went blank. I love when this happens because she's such a dear friend and she's helped me on things. And Catherine, that's it.
yeah.
It's like my mind was just like, who were you talking about? I'm like, I don't know. I talk about a lot of people.
Oh,
And so yeah, so that's three people I'm supposed to put you in touch with,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Want to make sure I'm not missing somebody.
Oh, we're doing good. We got a thumbs up.
So before we go, is there anything you want to promote that's coming up for you, or anything you want to share with everyone? You want to kind of
um, one little thing, cancer awareness. Be sure to be clean with your food. Watch a lot of times. Maybe you don't know, but promote diet and exercise. Your medications are very good for you. When you're taking medications, you have an ailment or something like that, you go to the doctor, you go over the counter, you do that. But always take a step back to look really close and read the labels of your food. Take some good vitamins. Um, uh, I follow a vegan diet, but I like to do exercise. I'm always out there walking around and doing stuff. I like to uh, drink water, stay hydrated, but make sure also that a lot of times you can get rid of those cancer cells and things like that are starting by promoting a different type of diet by eating healthier and maintaining some exercise and things like that. I know that I've had some friends that have actually been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer and actually went vegetarian, and it completely cured within 30 days. It was a complete turnaround. He was cancer free for the rest of his life. And I know, being a nurse, I've seen that several times. Like working with Gaia, we promote health foods, yoga, Pilates, things like that, exercise. So that's another thing, a big thing. Vitamins, good vitamins, like the Global Health Healing Center. That group really, really, really big thumbs up. Good vitamins, just you make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Watch what goes in your body, and then you just you love yourself. And I can't get over that. Just you don't always have to take a pill, a medicine every time you have something wrong. Sometimes you can take a vitamin if you have depression. Sometimes you can take B6, and sometimes it'll stave that off. Niacin. Sometimes you can go for a walk for 20 minutes. Sometimes you can meditate, and cleanse the toxins out of your body, get rid of the toxins, and purify your life, and your situation will get better always, every time. So that's another thing you got to look forward to, is being happy and healthy and promote the positivity in the world. All over the earth, you smile at the world, and the world's gonna smile back at you, because it's kind of hard to sit and listen to somebody laugh and giggle and not join in with them. You don't want to go like that right away. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, you're right. And Willow commented as you were sharing that. She says another synchronicity is she's a cancer survivor.
Good for her. Good for her. Yeah, that is me too. Actually, I had cervical cancer. I stage 3, and I did, but I am been free and clear for since 2016. So yeah, I am, and I've been a vegan since 2019. Man, I actually had three. I had 3 pages of medicines, pharmaceutical medicines, that I had to take at one time. At by age 39, I was fat, sick, and nearly dead, quite literally. And I smoked cigarettes. I smoked about 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I drank about a case of soda, about a case of Pepsi a day. I did. I mean, I was on a CPAP with 2 liters of oxygen attached to it. I quit smoking. I stopped drinking soda pop. If I drink soda pop now, it's the Olipop kind, which is vegan, and it's got pre and probiotics in it. I I ended up doing all kinds. I love to do yoga. I love to do Pilates. I love to walk. I love to exercise. I love to walk my dogs. Everything. And you know what? I do a lot of meditation. I don't have to take any medicines anymore. I have been clean ever since 2019. So I just stopped one day, stopped right out of the blue, and I said, I don't want this life anymore at all. I'm not going to live. My daughter, she's only 14. She's only 14 years old. She was getting ready to turn 15. I said, I don't want this life anymore. I am not going to do it. I won't. So I got to push through something. I got to find something to change my life. And that's what hit me with working with Gaia at that point right there. I was like, I'm changing everything. And I did. And I'm so glad I did that, because I don't have any of those. I had asthma because I had been in the coma. I had been on, I had a IgE related asthma. I don't need any inhalers. I don't need any more singular. I don't need anything for that. I don't need anything at all. They discontinued all my medicines, and I just take vitamins.
Yeah, and everyone remembers she's a nurse.
Yeah.
I'm not, so I'm not going to comment
Yeah.
about medicine. So, YouTube, Facebook, if you're listening to this, she's medical.
Yeah.
I'm not, so don't hit me for any of this medical talk.
Yeah.
And, oh, Willow says, shit, just saw he drove a Corsica, Veronica. That was my first car.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. It was. It was a blue Corsica. Yeah. See. So I'm synchronicities again, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be even more wild and crazy if it's the same car.
That would be, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be?
That would be downright creepy.
Wouldn't that be really something? Oh my gosh. Man. Wow, that'd be weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be like, what are the odds of that?
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh.
Willow says, holy hell. For real.
Oh my gosh. What color was her car? What color is her car? What color was her first car?
She says, well, I lived in Missouri. Hey, cars travel. And cars get painted. That's how they get stolen. And they change the color. And so police will say, oh, I'm looking for a black Mercedes. This is a blue Mercedes. So, guess it's the wrong car when it probably is the right car.
Who knows, right? That's crazy, isn't it?
She says it was gray, but had been painted. See?
Oh, see, hers was blue.
So, yeah, it'd be interesting to, like, I know they can remove paint from the cars to see the original colors, but
Yeah.
it without knowing if hers was the original color, you may remove it and go past it. And so, yeah, this this is starting to get spooky.
Right.
She goes, "We got it in 1992 to 93."
Oh no, it wouldn't be hers because the family still had it. I think they actually still have it, but it would be cool if it was the same kind of car, the same exact like because it's the Corsa. If it was the same like the same like
the sister car to
yeah,
it.
like yeah, right. That would be so cool. That would be creepy as heck, but really neat.
Wow. And you forgot something.
I did. What?
You mentioned, oh, she says hers is a hatchback.
Oh, I don't remember if hers was or not.
You mentioned in the bio you sent me, the last sentence is, I am going to be on Ancient Aliens.
I am. It's coming up soon. I'm working with Ron James from MUFONand, Mutual UFO Network. He's a media producer with them. So I've been anxiously. They just pitched another show for Diet, but it didn't materialize. So they didn't want to do that one. So I'm on the short list. I'll be getting my own show or co-hosting with somebody, but I get to be on Ancient Aliens soon, and that's coming up. Should be within this year in the next couple months. So that's something that I'm super, super, super excited about. It's going to be great. I can only wait, and I get to tell my alien story about that, and then like my blood type and thing like that. So that's what we're going to be talking about. That is something extremely unique, and I don't know, but I can't be more excited about that. That shows the love of my life and always will be for forever. That and back in the day, Hangar One, that was really, really, really. But
yeah. Yeah, my friend William Henry is on Ancient Aliens.
yeah. I know. I can look at. I know
and
who that.
David used to be on there. He would appear every once in a while, so that'll be
Yeah.
an interesting, tribute for you. And Willow is commenting, I went to the Alien Con in Baltimore in, oh shoot, what year? 2019. And she said the Ancient Alien cast was there.
Yes, I see. I do. I know a couple people that have been there. I have always been at work. I have never actually been able to get the time off because something has always called me into work. And I'm even Josh Gates. I wanted to go see Josh Gates, and I couldn't even get there. Every single time, I have always been called directly into work, and I'll never forget it. But I'm like, I sit around and I get these tickets, I buy this stuff, and I get nothing. I'm always called into work, and I'm like, I don't know what. And then I go, you know what? Well, just we'll stay positive about it. It's gonna happen sooner or later. I'm a pretty good person, so I can't be. My karma is just really out there, and I shine through with love. I do in helping people. So someday it's gonna get here, and so I'm really positive about that. So it shouldn't be too much longer. I did just get another email from Ron James just like 2 or 3 days ago. It said, don't give up. It's just, you're on the short list for a bunch of projects, and it's going to be soon. So I said, okay,
Yeah.
soon.
It's comical you say that because here's a synchronicity twist for you.
Yeah.
I had a psychic on my show last night, and we were talking about how she's in Texas, I'm in Texas, and we're both paranormal investigators. We both have investigated similar or same locations, but we've never been able to investigate together.
Oh,
Every time we plan on it, every time we're like, "Oh, you're going to be at this event, I'm at the event, and then I got to leave because I'm not staying the whole night."
why?
And she's like, "Oh, I just arrived and you're leaving." And it's like, "Oh," and so we kept missing, and so we told each other, we're like, we got 3 opportunities at least this year.
Yeah.
We're like, we've got to be able to figure out a way to connect, and it's like it's gotta happen. We've
Absolutely.
got to make it at
Yeah.
least this year or next year.
Yeah.
It's like this is getting too funny that we're like in the same state, near each other. It's
Yeah.
like we're maybe like a city or 2 apart, and we keep missing each other.
Yeah. And I brought it too, right? Because 2 heads are always going to be better than 1.
Oh yeah, and it was funny because she had been on my show previously as one of the panel guests about the Warren Legacy
Oh, wow.
Foundation. And so this was our first solo appearance, just us talking about her work and what she does. And it was like, it was just kind of funny how we sat there and all of a sudden we were like, yeah, have you realized that we have done this and this? And we're like, yeah, and then there's this. And oh my gosh, we really need, it's like, yeah, and it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's always 2 heads are working better than 1. God bless you guys. I hope you actually get to hook up and then get doing something like that. Maybe this next time then.
Yeah, I mean, and what was funny is she spoke at an event, but I think it was like 2 years before I heard about it and got there. But it was like talking about like things, and she's like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I spoke there. I
Yeah.
was like, what?
Yeah.
How did I not know all of this stuff?
Right.
And it's like, man, so yeah, the world works, so it just goes to show, no matter how close or far apart you are,
Yeah.
when the timing's not right, your paths will just keep
Yeah.
being separated, but when the time is right, it's
Yeah.
everything's just gonna fall right into place. So I know your show will happen, and it'll be the right way for you. And if you have to have a co-host, I'm sure the right co-host will show up
Oh,
and help get it started.
yeah.
And best of luck to you with everything. And I will get you those names, and one of those being Willow. I'll
Yeah.
make sure. Willow, send me a message tomorrow if I don't connect you both, and remind me to connect you both, because I have a wild schedule this week of shows until Thursday. And after Thursday, then I'm done with shows. And so I tend to get narrow focused, just getting everything arranged and working on getting next week ready to be like things get missed. And so I appreciate that, Willow, and don't feel bad if you're like message me and just say, hey, you told me to remind you. I'm like, cool, awesome, you know. But yeah, you can message me anytime and remind me, because I got 2 shows tomorrow and then I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. That's how fun my schedule is tomorrow.
Yeah.
For my last day of shows this week. And then next week, I have 4 days in a row of shows again. I think I'm like, yeah. Yep, 4 days in a row of shows, and then I get a day off, and then I go on an investigation.
Ooh, nice.
And then I have a party to go to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
Yep. So thank you, and thank you, Willow. I appreciate both of yous. And it's so strange saying I appreciate the chat room, because normally it's just I've not had a chat room like this interaction before, so this is like a really cool first for me.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Thank you, Willow.
And so I normally say this just to my guest, but Willow, you are welcome to read into this if you want to be a part of this comment. And this message, Shallen, is how I end my shows now is from my heart and the heart of my shows to you. Thank you for what you're doing for humanity. And thank you for being authentically you and sharing your story and your experiences with us.
Thank you very, very much for having me. I appreciate you so much, Michael. I did. I was so happy to do the show. I have a lot of love for you, man. Thank you very much.
Yes, and I always like to say, when it comes to podcast shows, you never know what you're going to get because some hosts are one way and another way on screen, or they have, a set thing that they want to talk about. And I'm like, I try to be as free as I can and open the floor to whatever
Yeah.
and, make it less stressful and more, just like normal conversation so people can relax and not feel pressured like, oh my God, I'm on screen.
Oh, no.
So I just want to say thank you for trusting in me and choosing my show to come on because I know everybody has a choice. And so I appreciate the fact that you said yes to my show. And with that being said, I hope you'll come back on and keep us updated with everything.
I would love to, man. I absolutely would love to. I know I will.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Willow. Thank you to everyone in the chat room. And with that, we are going to say goodbye because if we don't, we may end up being here for another hour or more.
Yeah.
And I know Shallen's got things to do. I got things to do. And so thank you all. Have a wonderful night. And I will see you all tomorrow morning for a show at 11 a.m. my time Central and another show then at 1:45 p.m. Central Time. So at least I get a little break in between. So don't forget to like, subscribe, follow along my channel to see when Shallen will be back on. And do you have a website or anything you want to promote out?
You can do Shallen Gross UFO and stuff .xyz. Also, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, um, Blue Sky, and LinkedIn.
Wow, you're everywhere.
Oh yeah, I get around. I'm busy. But yeah.
Well, I'm glad we connected, and let's see where this goes to in the future and what answers and what mysteries we can unfold.
Oh yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. And with that, it's time to start the outro. Fingers crossed. Oh, I say that because sometimes it'll start on the cell phone, but not on the computer. So I got to stop it and restart it.
I see.
So that's why I say fingers crossed. Well, we'll see if this one starts right this first time. All right. Good night, everyone.
All right. Thank you.